Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to BeoTalk number 317. Uh, hope everybody's doing all right. As per usual, it's a weird week.
It indeed is.
Stuff going on. Go buy some shit at Skinny Play. Buy some beautiful covers. Link is in the chat. Let's go for 8,000s this time. You can get like a tiger print.
The tiger crunch. That's it, bro. That's the ticket.
Well, it's nice when you can do whatever you want, essentially. Come join our Discord in case you haven't yet. By the way, for Skinny Play, use the promo code, get 10% off, that sort of thing. If you're in the UK, or Europe, since he's not busy enough, go buy some of Steve's cables. I'm sure he has way too much free time on his hands, so
Oh yeah,
go put some orders in.
Do it.
So yeah, there's that. Did you get robbed? No, you're moving, right?
Yeah. You know what's coincidental and weird? This is the last episode in this apartment. It's 317. My new apartment number is 713.
Sweet.
That's so weird. But anyways, yeah, I'm finished here. I'm gonna, after the podcast, there's a little bit of cleaning left in the place, and then I'm gonna go to the new place and set up the TV. I got an internet guy coming tomorrow, and I found out that my two power outlets that are going to be for the 90s that come next week, and the TV for now, there is no juice, and there's no breaker box anywhere in the place that I can find, unless they put them in the ceiling, because there's access panels in the ceiling. So I'm gonna open that when I get there tonight, because I didn't have my tools with me.
Interesting.
And it was so weird. And also, zero cables, bro. Zero cat cables anywhere. I was shocked. Not a single network cable anywhere.
Wait, so are you sure those outlets aren't switched somewhere?
No, no. I've tried both upper and lower, because they only switch one of them usually, and there's only so many switches that you can click on or off. So
Weird.
I need to. I'm gonna have to get them to come in, and I don't know. I don't know where the breaker box is for this shit. So I always need to figure it out. Or it's tied into the plug that is going outside, and it's on a GFI, right? That you gotta reset it. It would be weird wiring, but we'll see. So
They've done weirder stuff
that's that.
before.
Oh, 100%. So yeah, the pain is over, almost over. I moved most of the stuff. Obviously, all the B&O is in my apartment now, other than the 90s and two pairs of live ones, because I just couldn't time wise fit it all into one van.
Too much stuff to do.
No, just too much stuff altogether, man. Like I don't. Well, I didn't even realize till I realized how deep, the container actually was. Once you start unloading it, like fucking, where's the white wall again? And once I started seeing the 90s straps, then I knew I was close, because they're strapped to the sides of the
Is your
container.
bed up at least?
No, I'm staying in my girlfriend's place for the whole week.
Okay.
Till I get everything sorted out.
So at least you don't wake up crooked sleeping on that couch behind you or something.
No, I'm done. Like, this place apparently is already rented out, so somebody's coming in here after me, like, immediately.
Interesting. That's
So
quick.
yeah, it's very quick in here. It's hard to, I guess, find rent in altogether, in not just Montreal but Canada. Too many people they've let in, and not enough houses or housing was built. But yeah, the new place is gonna look sick. That's just all there's to that. I always wanted to have a place with a concrete ceiling exposed, and that has it throughout. So I'm very happy with that.
Is there anybody above
And
you?
yeah, there's one more floor above me,
Oh, that should
but
be all right then.
I don't. It's the same scenario basically I had in Calgary, where I'm in the corner, and I just have upper and lower perimeter to worry about. I only have two neighbors essentially to the sides, but where the living room is, it's the very corner of the building, and then there's a office, which is now storage, and then bedroom. So there's multitude of layers that the sound would have to travel through in order to bug the fuck out of the people. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, at some point, the concrete starts vibrating.
I'm sure that. Well, I'm not gonna go as crazy as I used to because I don't want to really fuck around in the building. But if there's a party next door, whatever, I'm gonna definitely give a schnitzel stew myself because I'd like to listen to some good music every now and then. And I'm quite excited to hear him with the title. You know, like the actual high quality title music going through the '90s. So that's next week.
For regular FLAC, I think the difference is still next to none. With Atmos stuff, it's different, but it's also because the codec is different.
But yeah, Saturday next week, the '90s are coming in, and I don't know if I don't think I'm gonna piss around. I'm just gonna leave them boxed for another week at least, because there's no way that I'm gonna be able to move all the stuff and then go return the Penske van, right? Because I'm renting a van with the lift truck or lift gate. Because there ain't no fucking way that I'm ever dealing with stairs again, bro. And I don't give a shit. Those '90s that we have in the store, they can die there for all I care. There's no way I'm doing this again. I was fucked up for 3 weeks after that. Like my back was completely shot. I could barely walk. Like it's not fun to pull all that stuff. Because, it's not like, some bullshit that you can afford to drop and, ooh, sorry, I fucked up your $700 couch, right? Like,
yeah.
It's a fucking $100-something thousand per speaker, more or less. Like, so if you get that tumbling, and it's not like,
it's not going to stop if it hits a wooden floor.
No, and that huge bowl of aluminum and angry drivers, like the head would just break off and the shit would just tumble down as far as it would roll. I don't know. So yeah, it's you really put all your into it, right? And then some guys are cheating, right? Because they're like, just make like, fuck off for pretending. Lift, bro, lift. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, no, man, I'm literally shooting hemorrhoids out of my asshole, and you fucking, don't even break a sweat, and we're both equally lifting this. No way. So yeah, it really wasn't fun, and this time I made sure 100% that there's the access point to the building is I put them on a dolly and we roll them all the way on to the front of the building, pick the rocks out of the wheels in the dolly because I'm sure that I'm gonna pick up some, and then roll them right away into the living room and take them off. I'm debating to buy that blue carpet, like the contractor carpet, that foamy shit that sticks to the floor, but it's, to, I guess, avoid the damage, because rolling down those speakers on a dolly still, it's a lot of weight. So that is the only time I ever really consider selling these freaking speakers, man. It was when I was moving from Calgary. I remember packing them up 2 years ago. I almost sold the shit. And then, no. And now it's the same. But then once you get over that, once you're in the house with them and you put them on, I'm sure as shit I'm going to go, am I stupid? Why would I sell that? It sounds so good. So
I think you should get a free membership, a gym membership, and made to go, right? Like this is mandatory work training.
I don't agree with crippled in 5 years is fine either. And a lot of people are voting, fuck y'all, man. 43%. You guys rather just juice the shit out of me now and I die in a gutter somewhere with a pair of fucking rusty 6000s or something.
They just want to hear you scream when you install like an emerge or something.
God.
Like, and it's like an emerge.
No, whatever the B&O designs, please don't do another ridiculous mess like this. It's just too much to lift and worry about. Like, I understand those speakers are put together and never to be moved, right? But not everybody. Like, even here, man, people that have 50s, like I've moved people with 90s too, moved them twice. When I first started working in Quebec Song, like it was like literally one of the second or third job I might have moved the 90s. from the
Mm.
dude's one's house to the small house or smaller house, and then we put them in the garage. And then we couldn't fit them through the bloody wall, the doors. So I had to take off all the crowns because you can't just take the bottom ones off, right? You have to take all the crowns off, all the grills off, right? Put them on the blanket, drag them across that goofy ass threshold, and then reassemble the speaker, put it together, skate it to where it's supposed to be, and tune it. That was an entire day.
Yeah,
So I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that in my house, but still.
I mean, I love 90s, but this is a huge part of why it's sort of like, yeah, no.
That's the biggest reality check you get with them if you have to move them. That is absolutely the most stressful part of the entire ownership of these speakers.
I mean, it would be something else
because
as
if
well.
you get a flood in the house, you're done. No, they're done. Like, there's no way you're saving them. 50s, you would have probably enough adrenaline to just fucking and you know, walk it upstairs from the basement. But 90s, bro, you can just put a canoe down there and just and paddle around them, because there's no way you're moving that.
Yeah, I could lay the 50s on my kitchen countertops or something.
Right, and if the shit hits the fan, right? Like, you know, I'd rather replace the cosmetics on it, a couple, you know, aluminum parts, than you know, have them filled with soot and
then you get that odor for the rest of your life. Like,
oh no, they're done. They're uncleanable. We've had in 2013 in Calgary when there's a huge flood, and it hit a very prominent area, like around the Elbow Park, and there's been a whole bunch of shit that came in. One subwoofer came in Beolab 2 halfway submerged. I was surprised how well the seals were on that sub, like the pressure containment inside the cabinet itself. There was no water inside the electronics, like, but you'd had that, you know, line of like uncleanable soot. Like, it was a two-tone. Too bad it didn't stop exactly in the middle. That would look cool, but it was an absolute ruin. So yeah, and the floods are terrible. But anyways.
Yeah, it just missed us 2 days ago.
Yeah, I saw it on YouTube. It's like, yeah, Florida got smoked pretty well. So that's why if I'm going to move to Florida, it's going to be in a high-rise building, bro. Because if that falls, then, you know, fuck it. It was meant to be. But if there's a little bit of water, I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Well, we just got some rain and some wind, and that was about it.
So...
But closer to the coast and downtown, there was like, what, 9 or 10 foot of flooding?
Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, you lost everything.
Yeah, quite a few people.
And 90s don't float. 90s don't float. I don't think any BNO speakers float.
The 50s may, if they're properly sealed everywhere. Like, you have one of the straight up buoys just going like that.
Fucking lands up and shit.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they would float. 4000s would float. No, they wouldn't, because they have a baseport. I don't think much speakers from B&O would float.
No.
Yeah, this just feels bad. No, nothing would float. Everything that could has a baseport in it. Like the 6000s, they're pretty hollow.
I mean, the router may float.
The Emerge, that's also ported.
Oh,
yeah, there's not much. So, do I even lift? No, I lift myself off the bed every day, bro. That's what I do, and that's considered exercise to me. And the last few days, it was, you know, sitting here and packing. I'm so glad I don't have to listen to the goddamn fire sirens anymore, because the fire department is literally, or fire hall is literally like across the building. It's gonna be so quiet where I'm at.
Yeah, it's nice.
But I'm still debating. Actually, I'm still debating what to do in my bedroom. Do I put a shape up, or do I? I found the Lab Force Callis. And I was looking at them. They were right at the bottom of the 90s, exactly where I remember placing them. But I just couldn't, because my eyes are not as good as used to be. I couldn't read. I couldn't peel off enough box to see, because the Beolab 4 was I think the second line on the tag. So yeah. I'm gonna dig up the Lab Force, which is gonna be obsolete for the new BeoLink. What is it? BeoLink Surround or whatever it's gonna be called when they come up with that.
Yeah, that should
But
be
yeah,
any day now, right? Because they
it should be
said,
soon. Yeah, they're pushing on me. I sent them an email. I'm like, sorry guys, I can't do the beta on it because everything is in the fucking box, and I don't even have internet till tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm gonna try it and see if I have time. So because yeah, this week was very interesting. We did a photo shoot or film shoot, right? The date, like for the company.
mm-hmm.
So on top of me moving and taking apart my theater, I had to take apart the fucking showroom theater on the floor stand, box it all in, go to the house, undo it, put together 28, set it all up, and then that was Wednesday, which also happened to be that we had to bring a couch, 4 flights of fucking stairs. So that was like the start of the day, right? Because they needed to set up the stage. And then we drove for an hour, dropped off all the shit, built it all, blah, blah. The guys were setting everything up, yada, yada, yada. And Friday I went to pick it all up.
Is this like for an internal thing for like, or for like
Yeah.
an
For
ad?
us, for Quebec Zone, yeah, for Quebec Zone ad. Like they're doing an ad with the theater 55 and 28s, right, for themselves. So yeah, it was motherfucker, man. It was so much moving, and on top of all that, right? And then Saturday, I took the blue van, the big one from the shop, and loaded that. Which, yeah, I'm left to only a few heavy things in the container, and that's it.
Oh yeah, I better hope you get some sales out of that because that's a lot of work for a few photos.
Well, no, it was like a video that they were making.
Oh,
I don't know what the concept of it is, but it's gonna be a video.
interesting.
So
I mean, next time you should just tell them that they should sell more 8s. It's easier.
fuck. Yeah, dude, it was a headache, definite headache, but it's done now. 2 years in this spot was pretty good, but I'm overpaying at this point. So for what I'm getting,
I sometimes forget it's been that long already.
it's unbelievable how time flies. Well, we've been doing this for 6 years now, man. Over 6 years, 6.5, I think, because we started in April of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, it's October almost. Yeah, it's been a long time. You guys have been around us a long time, watching us get old online, for God's sakes. But a lot has changed for B&O too. A lot improved over time, I guess. Our cries didn't really go unheard. So
No, I do have a feeling there's something going on in the background now because like communication is very slow lately.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's happening, if they just got rid of too many people and now they don't have enough, or because there was that August purge, right, or whatever it is. So I don't know. So far, so good for us, man. Not much. There's a few things that were back ordered, but understandably so. The Lab 8s, they're awesome speakers, man. We've installed a lot of them now, and finally the software is getting better and better. And I found out that you can actually disable AirPlay in each individual speaker.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like to do. And it doesn't do it globally for the whole account. So you can disable AirPlay in the BeoLab 8s and then connect them to the BeoConnect core, and then use them and hide them in the app as well, per se, right? So they just show up as a singular stereo system entity. So I'm glad that they took that direction, because it was unbelievably confusing even for the clients. Because some guys pair the speakers, some guys don't stereo pair the speakers. They're scared to stereo pair them because then how's the Wi-Fi? Is it gonna fuck up? How far they are apart? And yada yada yada. Sometimes what I don't understand also that they still have a issue where retaining the connectivity on Wi-Fi. We have them a few times that they drop a channel.
On Wysa?
Yeah. Like they are on, but there's no sound coming into them. They're basically offline in the app as well.
Huh.
So, and that's also is it a positive or a negative, right? Like, if you keep them in the app, at least you can tell if you can reboot it or not. Because if it's offline, it's offline. But the problem is that some of these speakers are so high up that we have, on the walls installed, that how do you, call this? Like at that point, I've done it a few times, and for depends on what and where and how it's set up. Like sometimes we do a theater on the wall with the LG panel in the way that all the electrical, like there's either a box and shit behind the TV that you can hide all the stuff. So how do you power cycle the TV then, right? We just basically label the breaker downstairs. I'm like, here, man, if something goes awry, click, 60 seconds, clack, and let it sit and simmer till you hear beep boop. The boopity boppities. That's the best sound you can get. And then it's online. The TV will be booted up.
I'm just surprised that it's Wi-Fi, not Wi-Fi issues, really.
Yeah, this is the call that I get. I got from Kareem this morning. Was telling me that one of his. I'm not gonna say who, but he has a Harmony TV platform with the Lab 8s as the back and 50s as the front.
Nice.
Because he did a smart thing and retired his Beosound Beolab 8000s from the back. It looked good in that old house, but it's a significant improvement in sound quality
for the rear channel. Just a good setup.
Yeah. The guy is a long-time collector of B&O, so a lot of respect for a person like that. It's good. It's a pleasure to work at a house like that too.
I still have to inquire about getting some 8s. I don't know what to do with them, but
I don't know. Get the see-through ones. Saw that on the Discord. The see-through one. I don't know. It was just like a demo thing that they have to see like what it is inside. But to me, it's just
probably
too much
that see-through plastic probably doesn't take all that much pressure before it cracks.
Yeah, you never know. Hopefully, it's not the same plastic they used for the broken ice grills for the Lab 17s. Because it'd be yellow as piss in a week or two. Sell your 17s and replace them with 8s, Steve says.
Yeah, no. Well, part of the reason is that like you can get 2 sets of 17s at least for a set of 8s, right? So even here in the US, where like a set of 17s is like what, $2,500 sometimes. It's sort of like it's so expensive that it's kind of not worth it. Also, it's where they are. Like, I'll still have to make a video at some point of my living room setup, but like the 17s just fit better there.
It's all about the design too, man. Fudge, like and that's the thing. Like, I don't really have a need for the 8s anymore. Maybe what I would do, I would put the 8s in the back and put the 18s in my bedroom, because that'd be like a walnut heaven there. But 8s at the back with the theater in the front with the 90s would look good, because the lamellas have the same profile, and it just eats me alive that I don't. That's why I have the 18s in the back, so I don't have to look at them. They're beautiful, but they irritate me beside the theater with the different profile of it. But obviously, that's just what it is. 18s look good with the theater when it's like a gray melange cover, so you don't see the wood as much.
The only thing I can think of for doing 8s is either hang them in the kitchen on the wall somewhere, or hanging like over my desk, like studio monitor type deal.
That'd be some fucking good ass overkill, but I would go for it.
But I'm getting to these sort of places, right? Like, or I can, I guess, make a surround system in the guest bedroom. Or something like that.
But that's where it gets to the point in B&O collector's life where you do want to keep up with the new product every now and then, right? You limit yourself to a certain point, but it's hard to limit yourself because it's not like they come up with the shit like Sony with the mini discs every 3 weeks was a new product, right? So, once a year you get something to treat yourself with, and then you kind of sort of have to figure out what you are gonna, which is nothing that you're gonna let go, and where to repurpose stuff. So Paul said, I can use Google Cast YouTube Music to my other speakers using multi-room. Technical say it's not possible. Out of the TV, you mean? Absolutely not. That's just that I've been crying and bitching about this for years now, and it wasn't just a limitation of the Mozart. It's still a limitation on the ASC platform. Essentially, that limitation has been around since Biosystem 3 went away and analog connections were obsoleted. I know that, yeah, Sonos can do it, but B&O does not. I don't know why and what the reason is, but that's just where it's at. Like for me, when I watch YouTube, I literally just mute the theater. If I'm having a shower and I want to listen to whatever's on the screen, I turn on the Emerge louder and turn down the bloody theater so there's no echo, and then I live with it that way. It's nonsense for what we pay for, but I don't know if that's something that is not license available to fix, or fix because of the license wise deal, or it's something that they just don't deem as important as they should, in my opinion.
Hard to say.
I really don't know.
Hard to say.
I really don't know, but I don't know. I think that B&O should also then make a survey, or we can just put it in a poll. How many people would use, if able to do so, a multi-room video stream? So essentially,
Probably
if you have like
some, but it's the problem with the poll
YouTube
like
music.
that is already is like the older people, right? Like, and by that I mean the people that grew up with BV7s, 11s, 10s, whatever, may do something like that. But they're also not the people that are online all the time for polls. They come to their dealer like twice a year, maybe.
Send them a card.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's the same for like any like the Google Cast thing, right? Like, was it something like 90% of people are on iOS? Like, and they probably have a breakdown of also like who in iOS owns what and who in the Google atmosphere owns what.
Yeah.
And if the 10% of Google/Android people are essentially headphones and that sort of thing, like, is it really worth it to like set a team on it to make this one feature work?
Paul, me and you are a minority Android users, even though it works.
I'm not saying they should or shouldn't, right? But like at some point, cost comes into play.
Of course, and licensing too, and all this shit. So
yeah,
but yeah, there's always going to be limitations of one kind or another. But I don't know. You say YouTube Music, so YouTube Music is a what? It's still off
app.
a panel, right?
No, it can be off your phone, I guess.
Okay, and that's still delayed, or you can distribute it. I wonder if you have multi-room enabled in your app, actually.
Yeah, and then play around with latencies. Because funnily enough, on my home network, which is Ubiquiti, right? Like, my moment now is set to a latency of 50 milliseconds wireless. And it's like the first second that you hear it slightly sort of go crappy quality, and then it's in sync almost immediately.
Interesting.
Which is like 50 milliseconds should be way too little to be in sync on wireless. But it works. I mean, I can join in the moment to the theater in the living room, and like in here, it plays in sync.
So then I guess the lockup was this, it's a streaming service. You can distribute it via multi-room if it's delivered via Google Cast. So that's a Google's limitation then. Then you have to go to the Bluetooth or whatever, and then that unlocks that. It's more or less like treat like an analog source without any DRM nonsense on it. Am I understanding that correctly?
If Google Cast works similarly to AirPlay, you should be able to get it to more than one speaker. But maybe not if you've stereo paired them. and like stereo pair groups of Google speakers, then you.
See, I understand that I should probably know the answer to that because we do play with Google as far as the BNO is concerned, and the voice assistant was a cool thing a while back as well. But the reality of it is that none of our clients are Chromecast. Zero. It's either AirPlay, and people that are on the Android platforms, they use the BNO app, or they use whatever it's built in, like through a Deezer or Tidal or a Spotify Connect, I guess. Most of the Android people have Spotify.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a very unique problem you have, in my opinion, but I don't think it's enough to tip the weights of a give a shit, essentially, on a BNO side, or just altogether side, that to fix that.
It may also
because you have a workaround, essentially. So
if other streaming services can be distributed, just not YouTube Music, then it's a YouTube Google limitation, most likely.
That's it.
It like clearly then B&O allows it. Other apps allow it, but like initially Spotify allowed it and then they didn't, right? Like that's how we went to Deezer. Because Spotify all of a sudden said, actually, you can only stream it to one source and not share it anymore.
Yeah, and that was the end of relationship, essentially.
Yeah.
Because I remember that was still back in a Beosound 5 times, where you had Spotify connect to the Beosound 5. That was a major upgrade that they've done to that system back in the yesteryears.
I think initially Tidal was like that as well. They just said it was for quality reasons or whatever, but by that I mean it's like 2 years ago or something like that.
I'm going to try, once I get the 90s set up, because in the store, like, you can fuck around, but it's not the same, right? But I'm going to take the core, I'm going to order a USB-C to a printer cable, I guess, or whatever the stupid thing is called on the other end, right? Because it's USB-B. Why can we not just have a regular, USB-B? Why can we not just have USB-A? But anyways, that's just where, that is. So I'll plug that in there and try to play with it and see what's up.
The only kind of weird thing is that if you want to change any of the audio augmentation, you have to do that on the 90 side, and you like the EQ over USB-C thing doesn't really work.
That's just pure music.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm after. Then, I'm not one of those that, I'm just gonna,
well, it's just weird, like when you do it over PowerLink, right? You do get wide, narrow control and the Beosonic.
I'll set that default behavior for USB to be always a narrow. Like, if I'm gonna piss about to that extent, it's a one chair no friends type of thing as an evening would be. It's not like, we're gonna hang out together and cat in the middle. Fuck you. Cat's not gonna have the sweet spot. I'm having a sweet spot.
Are you gonna let the cat sit with you on the Eames chair?
I'm buying a couch from IKEA just so there's one that I'm gonna have a podcast from there and Dr. Evil that shit. But yeah, I'm gonna buy a couch from IKEA just for a year, I guess. Then maybe I'll sell it. I don't know what I'll do with it. Maybe I'll keep it if it's not in a bad shape. But the kitty's gonna have. Oh man, she's gonna run with like Michael Jackson gloves on all four, bro. No pause. No pause.
I can tell you right now that's not gonna work.
I know. Yeah, I don't know what I'll do. Because my girlfriend's leaving for a week, so that's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna keep the covers for the 90s definitely around. So when I'm leaving the house, I'll put the covers on them. At least, there's a hope and chance in hell. And I'll put like a roll of tinfoil in front of it. They don't like that. Apparently, I've learned that. So I'm going to take some precautionary measures. I'm going to buy like an industrial tinfoil thing because I'm sure I'm going to need a lot of it for a week.
Yeah, or just change them over for 50s. It'll be better.
Thought about it. I fucking thought
It's
about it too,
so
bro.
much easier to like move
Oh
and
god,
drag
everything,
around
it's
and
everything.
place and
Everything is just it's a different. Well, there is no headache. It's a little bit of a headache, but it's not, like constantly in stress with this shit. Make sure you plan it out. They don't F up the delivery for the truck and the proper truck I book because they only have the 20 footers are the shortest ones that have the lift gate, right? And I reserved it 2 weeks ago, which was too early, but I'm gonna call on Monday, be on it like white on rice, 8 o'clock in the morning. Yo, we still on fucking Saturday because I canceled my storage already. October 5th, I'm done. I have to be out, so there's no choice. And on Wednesday, I have to drive to the border to hand in the paperwork, for God's sakes. So it's going to be a nice week. And after that, I have to go to a client and pack another client out for move. Like, it's just a curse. This whole month is just moving. Everybody's moving. Fuck. I've gone through a fucking bubble wrap, like those big commercial ones. I went through the whole thing in the last month. Bubble wrap and shit for
yeah, tell
people.
me about it. I bought three like one of those things right when I was moving, and I thought, oh, that's enough because like in total there was like 2 kilometers of bubble wrap or something, and I bought
Yeah,
like
no,
five more.
I went through when I first packed for Florida, all the, I went through 4.5 kilometers of black saran wrap. So all that, everything that I boxed up was 4.5 kilometers of wrap. And I think 16 rolls of tape, 4 fragile and 12 packing tapes. So it was, and a stack of Post-its. So that was the it was like Christmas on opening these boxes that I packed up because half the time I was fucking a little bit of bourbon in me. So I was surprised that I've listed everything that was on the little tags that I put on everything. Everything was there. It's great. I still haven't found the black Beosound one. I don't know what, but I think that it's one in one of the boxes that I forgot to put it on because it just says Beosound. But it might be because I know there is a Beosound one there and there's a Beosound one brass stone chassis that I swapped for the piano black. So it should be in that box. I wonder if that battery is dead in it now complete, and I'm gonna have to like install that 1.9 software and bring it back up slowly because it's
Probably.
gonna be It's gonna be
It's gonna be
Frankenstein for
dead as a
sure.
doorknob.
Oh, dude, it's been in the storage locker on the battery storage mode for last 2 years, 2.5 for God's sakes. Because I packed everything at the end of February. I think I was end of March. I was gone out of that place. So yeah, it's been sitting in for a while. I just hope that the 90s have no issues turning on. I think they'll be fine because there's no movement whatsoever on the speakers on the boxes. Like, dude, I tied them in so well. I'm very proud of myself because that went across the entire Canada on a fucking truck.
Yeah, you may have to set them up as new speakers, i.e., they lost all their
Oh, of
settings.
course. Oh yeah, I'm gonna restart the whole. That's what I'm just like more or less worried about. Like, because I don't remember seeing a CMOS battery inside anywhere last time I was inside those speakers, but I wasn't really looking for it nor paying attention.
Yeah, because who pays attention to CMOS batteries?
You don't till you need them.
Yeah.
So fudge, we'll see. It's gonna be sweaty palms.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But the biggest thing, I need to find the goddamn breaker box. I need power. Shit. Like, what am I gonna run an extension cord? Like, what is that? I can't
Yeah,
even have a
into
podcast with
extension
that
cord,
fucking.
into extension cord from the kitchen.
No, no, no. Yeah, like a Christmas one, right? And it's
Yeah.
like warm. No, 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 no. It's gonna have to be properly done. I gotta get the ground cable on those for sure.
Yeah, speaking of warm power, I had that when installing one of these units.
What is that?
One of the
Ubiquity.
Ubiquiti
Oh,
doorbell,
camera.
was it G4, whatever the hell it is, doorbell
Yeah.
Pro. It turns out my old transformer for the doorbell wasn't up to snuff, and it got really, really fucking toasty.
Oh yeah. That could start a fire. So if it's not,
Yeah, so fortunately it'll say like in the little display here, like too low power, shutting down.
Okay, so it's not dumb.
Yeah,
Burn your
but
house
then it
down with a
starts up
freaking
immediately
doorbell.
after it's shut down because it senses some power.
Oh, okay, so it's not as smart.
So I had to
Fudge.
replace that, but for
I'm
some
gonna make a cup of
reason,
coffee.
uh,
Yeah.
the previous owners, builders, I don't know who did it. They essentially attached the doorbell transformer to the fuse box, and I don't mean like stuck on the
Oh,
outside, like
like
the
wired it in to the inside.
yeah,
Oh, call this.
and it wasn't labeled anywhere. So
Fudge.
I had to take like the whole cover off and like be in like all the electricals. So I had to turn the whole house off because like we have a
Yeah, yeah,
200
yeah. You
amp
know,
service and like I'm not gonna root around in that with power on. Like
fuck
that's
around and find out hard, man. That would be not a good jolt for sure.
yeah.
200 M that you probably would not even survive that if you really, got lucky.
No,
So,
the cables coming in from the bottom, right? Like they're like as thick as my thumb. It's
mm.
it's
Less, I don't have that option, unfortunately, to have a dedicated power for the 90s. I've never had an issue with the power in the 90s, and apparently, they're supposed to be on a 20 amp circuits and whatnot on a separate breaker. I understand, but I've had them in my apartment, and in the entire time that I had been there in 6 years living in the place in Calgary, we never have really had a power outage issue because that's a, I guess, Quebec problem, and whatever. I don't want to talk about that much, but I never had an issue, and I bomb the speakers every now and then. Get a little bit more bourbon happy and watch freaking uh, movies at 80% or 80 notch volume, and I never had an issue. I never had them like shut off the power and be hung or underpowered at all.
yeah.
There's enough caps. Like I didn't really have the understanding of it. Well, I did because I've seen in a factory tour how those things are. But I didn't really pay as much attention to the boards as I did when I did the service on them a year and a half ago at a client's place. And yeah, man, like you get these discharge probes, and there's one that is a 400 watt, one is an 800 watt. And dude, you accidentally touch that, that is not a good day for you. I've had that experience, but off of an Avant 55 that was unplugged for a fucking week. And we did to submit the thing, right? And then send boards back to B&O for, like to salvage, whatnot. God, this man, I had gloves on, bro. Fucking pow in a kisser. I almost dropped the goddamn back panel, man. Like it was, I didn't expect that it's still going to have the caps for holding charge inside.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
So yeah,
dangerous
be careful
things.
with that. But like I said, I never had issues with 90s running on like I think that we have a 220 outlet as well in the store that was wired specifically for the 90s. But I don't think the ones that we have are ran on the 220. I think they're just a 110 or 120, I guess is what they call here. And we don't have an issue. But then again,
Yeah,
like
that would be
the,
also
the the amount
massive
of times that they
overkill.
get
Yeah.
up, the amount of time that the 90s get turned on is really really minimal because I actually have them set up in a startup with the Harmony. So startup group doesn't include them, only in Deezer mode, right? And it's usually like maybe 10 minutes altogether a day or 15 minutes a week sometimes that they get a playtime. It's not like mine, when I was home I turned them on, but obviously not like because you can't even if you go stupid loud, they sound very clear, but the fatigue of all that volume of air moving and shit going on around and things sometimes do fall off the shelves. And oh, what
There
was that?
goes
And
your
I never
BLAB
heard that.
8.
I never heard that. I never heard that in a song. And then you turn over, like I've had happen to me a couple times, and it's some whatever porcelain shit that I don't pay attention to that fell off and broke, and I don't even know what it was now. So yeah, but you can't like I maybe 2 3 songs that I do in a full volume in on the 90s, and then I'm done. Literally put it back to normal. But they don't give a single hoot, man. They could go for hours like that. That's the thing, but you can't.
Yeah, my 50s are on their own circuit, but it's not the only. Like, there's like a lamp on it, like a LED lamp or something, and
Dims with the bass.
well, I think the entire lamp uses like 10 watts or something. So like,
It's nothing, bro.
I mean, and
It's
I
not that
think
good.
it's fused for either 15 or 20 amp circuit.
It's not
Because
like you're
it's like,
running a George Foreman grill off of it, you know. So yeah, it's not gonna do anything. 10-watt lamp.
no, and then the
Is it an
17s are
LED?
on their own circuit.
17s draw like 9-volt battery power equivalent almost. It's you can power 17s off of that little Milwaukee 150
Yeah, but
watt, 175 watt deal.
all the ceiling outlets were new anyway, so like you might as
Yeah,
well
yeah,
put a
yeah.
new circuit in.
Exactly. Yeah, less 20 amp circuit is fine. And I don't know if you have any power
Yeah, but don't
conditioners and all
forget this
that,
is
but
on
there's no
230
need.
volts, right? Like that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
essentially double the wattage from here.
Yeah. No, they're fine.
I
They're
think it's
fine.
best practice to have 50s and 90s on their own circuit. I don't think it's needed. But
Yeah,
it
but
becomes
there's
needed
also a choice.
if you put like, I don't know, a kettle in the same group, right? Or
Hmm.
like or your laundry machine is in the same fuse group. Like then you have
My
issues.
In my old apartment, the whole fuse group that I had, because there wasn't that many breakers, it was more or less the entire system. Because that part of the house, the 90s were coming off of the one of the 90s were coming off of the office with there was a power center or a breaker, whatever, not breaker, but power box, and all the stuff plugged into it. Because back in the day, I had an Atlona switch in there, matrix switch, right? And I had a whatever the fuck, I don't even remember, man. I think I had a Roku and an Apple TV and a Blu-ray, right, just to show people the control before that gotten obsolete. So that was all powered from the bedroom or office, and then the other side was the 90s and the 9000 and the shape and the NLML converter that was on the second circuit. And then the V1 was in the kitchen on its own from the bar, like the island where microwave was on. But that didn't. I never had issues. I never had issues with power. Can't really say that about Montreal here because people here, I think they're too proud of their hydro and export way too much electricity for having a stable network in here. And I also think it's an infrastructure problem because everything is above ground. So you get a storm, fucking lightning hits, tree falls down. There's no more lights on the intersection. You got no lights in the house for a week or whatever it takes to fix. So yeah, that's I guess the detriment of living in an old city, because it's not like that further out where it's new, right? They bury everything into the ground because they've learned better.
Yeah, I must say though, it goes both ways depending on what your activity is. Like if you have seismic activity, it's easier overground.
Of
If you
course, of course. But I
if
think here it's more or less like the way that the tech and cost of it back then, right?
Yeah,
It
if
was
it's
so
like
early in the
here where
day.
you have massive floods, right, you would preferably have your bigger transformers off the ground.
Yeah, but also I don't think it was an issue maybe 50 years ago when the trees were young.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And now, like all these behemoths and stuff, man, like, oh man, I've seen so many, like when there's a huge snowstorm, there's so many cars that get damaged from fallen trees. It's unbelievable. I counted 25 one day going to work.
We have one of those older fashioned, like American style pole with line going over it in the backyard, and they're gonna come at
Yeah,
the end of the year and put that all in the ground.
so they should.
I mean,
So they should.
I think it's more so again a cost thing of trimming all these trees because they're responsible for all the foliage that grows on like their plot of land that's like 10 foot wide or
And
something.
insurance liability in case the shit falls on somebody's property, damages the fence, and blah blah blah. Yeah, it makes more sense to just bury that nonsense in the ground and don't forget about it. It's out of sight.
Yeah, but the main power lines on the main roads are like on these steel contraptions that you can essentially drive into, and your car will be worse off.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I forgot to ask Kareem, but I wonder if we're gonna get. I don't know if they're sold out. Those New Balances, the black deal that we have essentially in. Might as well talk about it a little bit. The Atelier limited edition, because we got the 4 BeoSound 2s, right?
I think there's only 60 of these.
Oh shit. So that's gone, more likely.
Officially, it's not launched. I think you can put your name down for some.
Okay. They probably might be surveying how many more to build, because it's going to be like limited 600 out of 600, and then there's 100 more.
Something like that.
Who's looking? Don't number those. Those are service chassis.
We just hope that the Bang & Olufsen is straight. Because remember that when the first marble balances came in?
I remember that. That was not good. It was a little bit of a tilt. We'll see.
Hello, do you know Klipsch? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I don't own any of that, unfortunately.
No, but it's like he didn't ask, do you own it?
I know of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I found 2 more BeoTimes in my box. Yeah. I got 3 BeoTime clocks. I'm gonna keep those till I die, man. And that's one of the dilemmas. Do I put a V1 or do I put a Moment in the Moment? Would look sick in the bedroom, because everything is it's light oak, same as the Moment's finish.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still IR, so I could literally trigger the radio off of it. But I still think I have a tune-in account somewhere, because I got in so far back that when I got grandfathered in as free.
Yeah, so, I have a Moment. I guess I can put it in my bedroom if I really wanted to use IR again. I haven't used that in ages.
Well, that's the only reason why I would do it is or retain the old core. But then the problem is, if I move to the new, which is everything is new platform in my new place, if I put in the old core just for the sake of IR, and then let's say I put the shape in the bedroom,
mm-hmm.
I'm shorted on title. I can't, because it's not supported. So
do you care for title in the bedroom, really?
Not necessarily, because it's always radio.
Yeah.
But every now and then, yeah, I guess. Every now and then I would.
For your playlist?
For my playlist. That's it. That's right. 70s poor music, bro. So. But, yeah, so that's the catalyst in the thought. That do I do that, or do I put the new core and then it's no longer my alarm clock is useless?
Or you can buy one of these balances and put that in your bedroom.
Or I can just put a freaking Moment in there anyhow, not connected to shit, and just have it trigger IR commands to the gateway.
Yeah.
Have it as an active link eye. It's not a bad idea. $3,500 goddamn player to have IR commands to go wake up, stupid.
Well, fortunately, they're no longer that expensive.
No, but that's what I paid back in the yesteryears of good old BNO tax.
God, I think this color is really, really well done.
Mm-hmm. I just hope it's not like, the supermarket bacon. You see it nice in the package, then you go through and you look at the backs and it's like, where's the meat, right? So I hope that they're not going to have it that there's not enough black in it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a natural product, so they're all going to be slightly different.
There's no guarantee, yeah.
So I think that's the more hit or miss bit, because who knows, maybe it's not this nice arch, but it's more like a line going wavy.
Of course, it's always going to be a little bit different from one another. But like I said, just like bacon is, you got to dig for the good ones in the supermarket, man.
Yeah, fewer than 60 units are available globally.
Maybe that's all they hide from that rock. That was that interesting.
That's a weird sentence, though, isn't it? Fewer than 60. What do you mean, like 12, or do you mean 59?
You'll never know.
Or is
It
that
also could be a marketing hook. You know what I mean?
yeah, but or is fewer than 60 based on the color combo, as in like we'll do more of this, but then this will be like a different color fabric on top, and therefore it's not the same, although the marble is the same.
Or they're gonna use a different marble altogether for another set
Yeah.
and just change it all together. Because I think with that digital or BeoLink surround, I think they're gonna start to push more of the not on the go products, I guess, but more of this to be surround speakers as an option, even though it's still a $6,000 speaker. So are you really going to save yourself that much money if you buy a pair of Lab 8s for your theater as rears? Would these be more powerful in a way? Would you care to have them that powerful? Would it be acoustically different? I don't think so.
Yes. I think yes, these would be more powerful. That's almost without question. Would they sound better? I don't think so, and that's more of a product of how the drivers are set with the counter firing. Was it 5.25 inch in these?
Yeah.
Then also, do you have them in a wide mode, these, or are they only just straightforward like they are currently if you stereo pair them? I'm not sure if you can put them to omni stereo pair.
Or wide mode, I don't know.
Yeah.
That should be corrected in the software, in my opinion. They should have the ability to utilize
Yeah,
that.
but it may sound really weird.
That's true too.
So I think like it'll be great that you can use, though this version is ridiculously expensive, right? This is US. This is not Canadian.
6,000. Yeah,
6,000.
no, obviously. $6,200, man. How about that?
I mean, compared to I don't know that one.
Go to the regular run of the mill, the cheapy. Holy mother of mercy! And that's still, yeah, that's not a premium. That's a premium.
I mean, even compared to the marble one, it's like almost $2,500 more.
Wow, it must be a special rock. That's a lot of money, bro.
Yeah, you can get like 2 emerges extra for that.
Right? But yeah, I'm excited about the when they release it in new software.
I mean, I do think in many ways the balances are easier to hide as rear speakers if you have like, I don't know, a cabinet behind you, or like what do you call those long wall cabinets? Like there's like they have a name for them. I forget. Like what Henrik has, right? Like behind his dining room table with all the
oh yeah stuff. Yeah, the glassware and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so like you can put an 8 on there, which will look nice, but it's much more like in your face, like look at me kind of thing, versus like if you put 2 balances on either end of that.
Yeah, balances are very subdued in a design. They don't attract, I don't think. They're noticeable, but also very, very forgettable, or discreet in a spot, in a place. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how they perform with that surround. If I'm sure it's going to be stable over time. Maybe the first few tries, and we'll see.
Yeah, I have a feeling the biggest problem is going to be distance to the source, again, as per usual.
I think it's going to be just like WISA, the 10-meter limitation. Yeah, which makes sense. Which makes total sense. So we'll see how that goes. I'm very excited about it, though.
You're going to be really baller if you buy 2 of these just for that purpose.
Fuck! You might as well just get a theater in goldstone uniform and black anthracite body.
Though I think this is like, it's a very proper, pretty execution of a balance like this.
Yes. Yeah, it's very nice.
I mean, I kind of want them to make this version with the black metal up here and a black fabric.
Mm-hmm. Make the anthracite variant of this.
Yeah, essentially. Or like have is this piece is probably like that bottom aluminium ring is probably orderable as a spare part, isn't it? Like
Most of it is.
if you just put it at the like exchange it with the bottom of this, I think that would look stellar.
Mm-hmm. The dark wood one is too dark for my liking.
Yes, I agree. It's kind of like those ultra black cats that they call voids, right? Like this is like a void. Like it doesn't matter if you put a light on top of it, you're still not seeing anything of it.
No, it's still gonna be disappearing, yeah. But we'll see how. I don't know. I don't like if there's only 60 of them. There's no way we're gonna even be able to get a set. Maybe because we're a pretty good performing store as far as the turnaround of product is. So we might get one. And I think we're at the tier 0, so I think mandatory probably, which would be cool because I would like to see it. I would definitely like to see it. And I'm sure somebody will buy it because there's people here with lots of moolah.
Well, regardless, it's a nice piece, right? Like,
I like that they went out to the quarry and brought the rocks extra, whatever they chiseled off of.
I'm not totally saying by definition it's worth it, but it'll be worth it to somebody because it is really nice.
Well, if you have a granite top like that already in your house, which probably costs you more than the balance, whatever, obviously more than probably 4 stereo paired, then, and if you want something like that, yeah, poof, I would put that on. Because imagine if you had a table with the same kind of finish, and I would have that opportunity to buy that, I would probably core or bore a hole into the counter just for power, so that thing sits there and blends in with it.
Yeah,
it would look sick. Yeah, it's a nice variant, that's for sure. That is for sure. You know what I found out? You can't set up a B&O product when you have a hotspot. It says it can be connected to the Wi-Fi. I was like, fuck, yesterday, because I didn't have anything other than an emerge from the shower that I took. So I Bluetoothed into it. Thank God that the Google was already like, because I put it on the Google Home and then deleted it. So it still thinks that it's happy. Or first I unpacked the level, try to do that, and not a chance. Which I don't know. Like I'm to the point where I'm either gonna sell the level or I'm going to take. I don't know. I'm going to take and order a non-GVA Mozart chip, I guess. I don't know what part. I can't figure out what part it is in the in the bloody thing that I would need to get in order to get rid of that nonsense.
Probably
because the level would fit very well. Yeah, the level would fit very well in the bedroom or in the bathroom with the wood grill. But I need to sort that out because I don't like the googlies anymore. The spies. I know. Yes, you're right.
Quite honestly, there's no reason why a level should be that much more expensive than an A5.
I don't understand why. Maybe the refinement of the aluminium. There's way more CNC machining going onto the level cage than it's going into the A5's body, which is basically 2 pieces that are machined and polished or pearl blasted, right?
Yeah.
Where there's a lot more intricate aluminium work in the level, and I think that's where the price differentiates quite a bit.
It's just since the A5 is available, I love the level. I think it's funky. The design is great. I just I wouldn't use it compared to an A5.
I think for me, it's going to be a perfect bathroom speaker because it's a super low profile, right? And I can just sit it on the thing and it'll be happy.
Yeah, it's just I don't think I would ever use it portably, not compared to an A5. I use my A5 all the time outside, and it's great.
The problem with portability with the level is that you just don't have the heart to fuck up the aluminium case around it.
Yeah.
I don't have the heart, right?
You know, you
Because
can
everywhere
lay
you
it
take
flat,
it, like
but it's like
it's
very...
still, dude, like it's 2 mils off the ground. If you put it on something that is not even, like if you have a, like a stone tile table, right? Like it's not gonna stand upright, and if it falls, bangs and dings, and you're not gonna walk around with those rubber boots on it, like just goofy. So yeah, it's I understand the battery power thing of it, but I don't think it's something that, in my opinion, they should have used that space in the cabinet for bass response. That's what I think they should have used, and leave
Yeah.
that product as it is, just to be plugged into the wall, and that's it.
Ed asks, how does the sound from a balance compare to a pair of Beolab 8s?
To me, that's a good question because we haven't played with it yet. I would try that in the shop.
The balance is, quite honestly, a fucking powerhouse.
It is a very capable speaker, yes.
And I think more so than 8s, though I haven't as such like maximum volume compared one to the other. Like the balance is almost double the power of the 8s in terms of like amps and stuff. But it's also counterfire. Like how you orientate your drivers has an effect on the sound of it, right? And it's not necessarily good or bad, it's preference a bit. But the balance has like the whole bottom end, that ring is where all the bass comes from. And I would say the balance is a bit more like Beolab 28 Mozart-y tuned, where it has that bigger bass hump. The 8s are a bit more neutral in that way.
I think the 8s are far more precise than the balance.
But it also very much depends on what setting you have your balance on. Are you like using it omnidirectional, or are you using it up against a wall in wide mode, or are you just using it straight forward? Because another thing you can do, right, is without touching it, you can literally shoot it 90 degrees out of everywhere.
Yes.
And it's really weird because you can sit in front of your balance like this and tell it to shoot towards you or go that way. And it sounds so different because it's literally not aiming at you anymore.
Yeah, balance is a very interesting product. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't really remember if you're doing the narrow mode, if it's using the side drivers to cancel out the standing frequencies or whatever, the bounce, rebounds, basically the same as 90s. Because if I remember, that was the first product that had that ability to do.
Yeah, I think so, but I don't fully remember. One of the things I thought was funny when I first installed it, it was on this like cabinet next to the wall, and it does the whoop thing, right? And the app shows, oh, you're next to a wall. Is this correct?
It knows.
Yeah. Like and it knew exactly where the wall was and that sort of thing. So that was quite interesting. Like, I mean, 50s, 90s, they just go, and it's whatever. You all do it manually. This is new. Mr. Potato Fries says also room acoustics moves to Mexico where all my walls are concrete. All my B&O gear came more alive. Yeah, if you put energy into whatever, right, and it gets absorbed, you cannot hear it. It's like because it's absorbed.
It's gone.
If it's reflected, you have an opportunity of hearing it.
That's why 28 sound better on the concrete floor than wood. Just that simple. Because that energy is not lost into transfer of and just basically the bass just permeates through the floor. Versus if you have a concrete floor.
Paul says I got 2 pairs of balances, so that's 4 paired in one room. Bit excessive. Let me tell you, they go very loud. Yeah, they're like 2 dB off an A9. Like the balance is, like 2 or 3 dB of maximum volume off an A9. So like it, A Beolab 8 is much more a comparison to like an 18 or a 17, goes lower, ultimate volume is roughly similar.
Mm,
But if you have one of those versus an A9, the A9 will always win. And the balance is so close to that.
it is.
It's
But you don't really. I don't know. I'm quite honestly, not that I'm past listening to loud music. I still do listen to loud music. Yeah, what am I talking about? Never mind. I'm getting 90s out for God's sakes. Yeah, I like loud music.
well, it also goes like even if you don't listen that loud, the absolute loudness is an indication of the dynamic range capability, right? Like if there is, let's say you're listening at 70 dB, but let's say for some reason the artist decided to put in a drum fill like mic'd this close and it must go all of a sudden. It's capable of doing that.
Yeah. Without even breaking a sweat.
Yeah. So
that's the beauty of the B&O, bro. Lately, they're harder and harder to get to break, which I appreciate because there's so much intelligence going inside the speaker that it doesn't let you mess it up.
all right.
Like the old Beolab 3s where you can cook the tweeters off if you're retarded with them. Or Beolab 9s, Beolab 9s, you could, yeah, they take a lot more. But the lap 5s, you could cook the tweeters, mid bass, and the mid range usually if you go full on.
So in terms of mid-range and tweeter, it's actually louder than an A9. In bass, it's less than an A9. So 104
which makes sense.
dB SPL maximum for a balance, 100 for the A9. Bass is 88 for the balance and 95 for the A9. 88 dB bass at a meter is substantial, especially from a small cabinet, right?
Mm.
I think this is higher than the same rating that 18s give, and very close to what 17s give for a pair.
Yeah.
I personally think the A9 is a bit more rounded because it's a bit more like at the right equilibrium, right? Like it's not like the bass like runs away or the treble runs away. Like it stays, like it stays more true to itself for longer.
It's more linear. A9 is a great product, man. I can't believe the design's still around. It stood and proved the test of time.
But it's compared to a balance, it's enormous, right?
Oh, 100%. But it's a different statement altogether. That's a piece of a furniture, basically. That occupies somewhere along a little bit of a stool, I guess, room in the room.
Yeah.
But the problem with the balance is that there's no real solution for them to have them in a solution like Lab 8s are. Wall brackets, floor stands, tables. Well, table stand, it sits on a table. But there's no other way to attach the bloody things to the walls to utilize them as a surround speakers, unless you have a very particular setup in your room, or you have your room set up furniture-wise in a way that you could afford to do that or get away with it rather. But yeah, that's one thing that I'm also debating. How successful will that be as far as the Beoling surround? Will we sell a lot more emergence for the rear effect channels? Is there a bracket? I think the SKB brackets makes a wall bracket for the emerges, so that could be a part of the solution. But then the thing is, like, it's easier to bring electricity to an active loudspeaker than try to piss about with a USB-C adapter and a cable, right?
Yeah.
Where do you can't really splice that shit, and how do you carry the power to it? So that's another thing that I to be concerned about. Levels, I think those could take the place of a 4000. But again, if you do them on a wall bracket, you hang them, then the logo's only one way. First of all, second of all, you still have an issue with power. Unless you can bring it in. I don't know if they're going to make it like adapters or some sorts that you can have a USB-C plus and minus, like a Molex connector that you can hide in the wall because it's low voltage, like 12 volts or whatever it's running on. It won't hurt or catch on fire. So I don't think that would be illegal to put behind the wall. but you still have to have that goofy ass transformer somewhere to bring that juice. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's gonna be very interesting how that will unfold.
I mean,
Technically, you could mount the emerges upside down too if you put them up in the ceilings, in the
yeah.
corners.
So if you go by the specs, actually, the 8s have more bass output by 2 dB than the balance.
Interesting.
And the same ultimate loudness. Though, from personal experience, I'm almost want to say, like, it doesn't sound that way, even though it may measure that way.
I agree. Psychoacoustics are always different than real measurements in life and science.
Yeah.
How we perceive it versus what the machine thinks that the curve's supposed to be or is like. So I don't know.
I mean, maybe it's
I'm
also
quite curious.
where I listen to them. Maybe it's the room, right? Like,
I'm sure Karim was watching the podcast, so I'm gonna bug him, and we should put a balance on the other side of the showroom and stereo pair the two, because we have BeoLab 8s would be right beside them, and then do an A to B with a multi-room, right? BeoLink multi-room, you can just turn one up and turn the other one down, and play that same track into two different speakers and see what they sound like.
I mean,
I'll get back to you with that.
I mean, the 8s have 20 watts less than the 17s, but there's the driver sensitivity must be higher because they put out like 3 or 4 dB more bass and a fair bit more ultimate SPL. So that must mean efficiency somewhere. But also the 8s are a 3-way speaker, whereas the 17s are a 2-way speaker.
Correct. Still 17s were good for the time.
17s still are good. Unless you're Stefan for some reason.
Stefan doesn't like them.
So I asked, would you buy 8s if you had no reason to own them? Only a third said yes, half said no. The rest meh, and some people are also nuts. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm debating, but I don't think I'll have a need for them because I'm gonna move the 8s to the back, and maybe I'll scrounge up another emerge and put it in, like, so I'll have the surround and surround backs just for the shits and gigglies. I don't even know if how do you use your center channel, correct? With your 50s on the movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have them in wide mode when you have movies?
Generally, yeah.
Okay. Same as I would have the 90s when I was watching movies. But with the Avant, I put them to narrow mode, and it was so much more accurate because I turned off the center channel in the Avant 55. But theater will keep up. I'm looking like I still have it here. Fuck. Bro, I moved the floor stand. The goddamn cat. I found like a half a bag of treats under the floor stand.
Yeah, that's probably why they like the floor stand so much.
Now it explains what she was always laying on it. Fuck.
But
because the floor is not straight, so one thing was just enough for those little kitty things, right? Just to fire under and. Oh.
But part of why I want 8s is like these covers, like
the aluminum covers.
Yeah,
they look sick. But yeah, it was a good point was brought up. Like, would that affect and impede on the WiSA and Wi-Fi performance? You still have the back of the cabinet exposed in plastic.
I doubt much of the antennas are on the front, right? Because that's all drivers.
So do I. There might be something inside that little tongue, but I haven't really looked. I've looked, but I don't remember because I haven't really looked at the service videos in a while. But they look sick, man. I really like those grills. This would also look baller on the theater if they made those lamellas for the theater. I'd take 74 of those and put them in.
I mean, even the opposite way with the anthracite ones, I think looks good on the gold and silver.
No, they look very interesting, and it's funny that they're not even that lavishly expensive compared to like what B&O wood covers are. Like
Yeah,
the
it comes from
anthracite
a
ones
single
look
block of
slick.
aluminium. This.
7.1 kilo aluminum block to 100. What is it? 330 grams.
Yeah.
They machine it down to. That's crazy.
I mean, the good thing about
I would.
aluminium is that you don't throw the shavings away. You just yank it all
That's right.
back to
Just melt
the.
it again, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. They look really hot. I wish B&O picked up on that and made that themselves as bespoke, because obviously they have the ability to do that. But I wonder if there's magnets in them too. Like they made it precisely like the B&O ones, that it triggers the tuning correctly,
Probably.
right? Thinking if they went to these extents to make it a machine, I think
Yeah.
they went into it.
I mean, the gold cover also looks really quite good on the anthracite ones.
Yes. No, it's a spiffy idea. I really like that somebody addressed it in that way, because it makes the speaker that much more luxurious looking, in my opinion.
Again, I would be very happy if B&O made it, but B&O's so slow with all this sort of stuff, right? Like, you get like a special cover like 2 years into the product cycle, and it's like, oh, come on. Like, unless,
Yeah, that's fair deal.
like, I don't understand that unless the request for purchase is so high that you can't keep up already, but I somehow doubt that.
I don't know.
I mean, it's not
I
like,
wonder if they're gonna come up with like a Atelier edition for the Beolab 8s. That'd be cool if they did,
yeah, and then what?
and
You're
do
gonna
something
pay
funny
like
like
10
that.
grand for a set of eights?
More than that, probably.
Yeah, personally, I just wouldn't.
They're a great speaker, though, man. I
Oh,
really
sure,
like.
but I think
Like,
they're pretty good as they are, right? Like,
oh yeah, no, I'm not saying they're not, but I'm sure they can do something crazy. But I honestly, as far as from the installer perspective, they are my favorite to put on, to deal with. Especially when you get wall brackets, you have so much freedom to fuck up a wall behind it that you can pull cables properly in, and it's not like Beolab 3s on the wall brackets when you have 2 centimeter wide hole that power link cable fits through. You have to do that before you put the power cord in, or because then you can't fit the cable through. Oh God, David Lewis had no
figure it out.
consideration
Figure it
for
out.
people. Yeah, you'll make it work, bro.
Get better at your
Yeah.
job.
So I definitely give that to the guys for design. Like it's so much better to put them on. It's so much easier. I did a set on a wooden wall, which is also, like it's one of those detriments that you invest in a B&O, and 10 years later when the speakers die, or 15 years later when the speakers die, you decide to go with something different because, why not? And then you end up with a couple holes in the wood that you can't fix. But at least the 4,000 holes from the wall bracket covered 2 out of 3.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it looks great. And it was also like, it was pretty slick installation, because there's enough that you can do a female DIN to RJ45 adapter cable. It all fits inside the back of the bracket without like extra kinks and shit, that it's not
Yeah.
like wires bent severely. It's nice and, smooth.
That
It's
slowly
perfect.
over time your speaker wobbles out, right? Because of the pressure of the cables.
No, but you know what? The only thing that sucks about the Lab 8s on the wall, if you tilt them and then you swing them either side, they look like they're off level so bad. They look like you installed them crooked as fuck till you look at the bracket and you see that the bracket is straight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's one of those things that optically they look always like you don't know what you're doing if you tilt them. if you tilt and rotate a little bit, they look crooked. But that's just the nature of geometry and how you perceive it when you look at it. But if you sit in a sweet spot and they're both tilted down and towed in towards you, they don't look crooked at all. But from any other angle, it's just weird.
I mean,
But
they're just a good-looking speaker.
they are.
Even with the oak or whichever version you go with. The cloth is a bit too much recessed almost.
That's the only thing I don't like about it. I think the cloth should have been, they should have made a different grill, because I think they're not using the same backing for both grills. It's designed specifically to one to fit the lamellae, right? And the other one is just perforated, and then they put the cloth over top of it. They should have put a little bit of the depth into the cloth. Maybe they didn't do it because it blends in with the front and back, that, you know, the sides are a little bit wider because the back is also a bit recessed, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool that that speaker is actually plugged in, because you can see the cable going in there.
Yeah.
It's a real photo. I think that's the same setup that they had where, I think it was a red cabinet back then, when the Beogram with the BeoVision 10 and the Beosound Encore. That was one of those pictures, and I still rotate on my wallpapers every now and then. So I need to download some fresh stuff from the B&O's marketing library and just start rolling some new backgrounds on my desktop. I just don't have time to do that. And I'm sure next Sunday in the morning, I'm going to spend the whole morning messing about with the speakers before the podcast. I'll try to have them set up before. That's like, it matters. It matters to me to have them set up before the podcast, because then I can just sit down and chillax and enjoy the tunes. Should I unpack the 9000? Let's make a poll.
Yes, for sure.
Because I'm hinging on yes and hinging on no.
Well, you don't have to connect it. It can just sit there as a piece of art.
Bro, I would probably run. See, and here's the thing, right? Now that if I don't put the shape up, then I won't need the IR link eye to put to the Beosound core.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I could use that, because it's the same link eye that would work with the Beolab 90s, right? Plug in the link eye, you know, run it to the back of the theater somewhere, just on the back, right? So it's still exposed. Run an coax into the back of the 90s from the 9000. And then when I press CD, it'll trigger the speakers, and I can control the volume through the link eye, and it'll show the volume still on the 9000, because that would be also, I would leave it in option 1 just for the shits and gigglies, because Mark III can stay in option 1.
I almost forgot about this ultra wideband technology. Expected early 2024. Right.
I don't know, honestly, like, if this would be something that I would actually actively use, having to own these speakers.
Why the fuck is it still in the marketing? Because you're basically here saying, like,
it's supposed to have been done a long time ago.
Yeah, we fucked up. We didn't. Whatever. We couldn't. I don't know.
So maybe they just...
Or just make this a 5.
That's what I'm saying. The mysterious little change to 2025. But I still don't know. And then, like, you know, what iOSs would be compatible with it? Would the B&O app have to be something to do with it on the Android phone? Or how does the Android platform work?
I think it tracks your phone. But
via Bluetooth, I guess?
I don't know. Maybe in the network?
Yeah, I guess, because that's pretty crazy what they can generate now just by mapping your network in the house to generate the AI imaging, whatever. They can tell exactly who and where and how it is.
Yeah, through your Wi-Fi, they can ping where you are in the room and how many of you are in the room. If, like, this is some CIA shit, but they've been doing that for a while now.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, why are we marketing things that are literally not done by the time they said that they themselves even expected it to be done, right? Like, just take
Do
it
you
out
think
then.
they got? Do you think they got preoccupied with the digital power link or a digital, BeoLink surround? Because there is no mention of that in here.
Who knows, right? Like,
Obviously,
maybe this seems to be a thing going on all the time. Like, squirrel, squirrel.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
oh, we had this great idea for this thing. We're selling it. It's not ready yet. Squirrel.
yeah. Let's do the surround instead, or whatever else we have.
Yeah, or let's do something totally unrelated. Squirrel.
Or could it be that the I guess semi-recent implosion of the app and its functionality after the new revamp, right, was something that
One would
divert
hope those
everything
are not the
overboard.
same teams.
I would hope so too, but yeah, is it divert everything overboard because we got this shit going on here?
Yeah, but
And
the thing is, right, this for the last, since at least 2017, this is always how it goes. Oh, we've got some problem. We're going to stop whatever was coming and we're going to do something else. Like, this is not new, right?
No. It's a pattern.
Yeah. And then whatever changes this dynamic, they never go back to what they were doing. Or at least not seemingly.
It's probably how the moment got abandoned in the same sense.
Yeah, they probably forgot about it for too long and then realized, oh shit, some licenses ran out. Like, well, whatever.
It is what it is, yeah.
So,
And do you piss off? How many clients do you piss off versus how many you would gain or lose, right?
yeah, we'll just give them a core and a halo, right? That's essentially what they did.
And that's it.
I mean, I just
Which
think
I
it's
gotta
really
say worked
weird
better.
that you like sell at least part of the marketing is off a promise, and the promise is just not kept.
No.
And I would say,
But
like, it's shady to do, but like, just get rid of it then, because at least the newer
I haven't
buyers
had
won't know.
anybody like that I remember. I've never had anybody ask about that specific functionality
Yeah,
with
no,
the
I
Beo
understand,
libraries in
but
the
it's
store.
on their website, right? Like,
I know. I would be asking about it if I was to go to the store because I would obviously, do my little bit of digging and poking about on the like I do obsessively over everything that I purchase.
I mean, it works with
And I
Apple
would.
iPhone 11 or newer. Well, good thing I just bought a 16. But
How do
like,
you like it? Because it's the brand new one now, right?
yeah,
The 16 is the newest.
we bought it last evening, so I haven't installed it yet.
Oh, okay. So you
So,
gotta move your life.
yeah, I'm gonna move everything over. I'm also waiting for a case still because, like, I need to do some stuff where I'd rather not use it until I have a case.
And I think it's better to get the case right out of the gate because then you muscle memory your feel of the phone with the case. Where when you don't have the case and you put the case on, like, fucking bulky son of a bastard, I don't like it. So
I mean, what I noticed in the store is like it's so much snappier and it's quite a bit lighter than my like. I'm in no way buy a phone every year. My last time I bought a phone was 2019,
mhm.
and I'm still on like the same phone from the 2019.
Yeah, I'm not one of those also that I would rather obviously spend the money on B&O, but yeah, this is the first phone that I have on a contract, but I haven't had a phone since on a contract for many years because I would always like buy a Lumigon. Before that, I had the B&O Serene and Serenata. Then the Lumigon era blew by, and then what the heck, the freaking power, the armor, the nonsense. And then I had a couple Galaxies before that, but I was always on the Android. So to me, that operating system is a little bit alien. But I guess if two people were to have a simultaneous heart attack on the street, and one had an Android and one had an iPhone, the guy with an iPhone would probably have his life saved because people know how to navigate that.
Yeah.
Because by the time you unlock the Android, the dude is cold. Or find the apps and whatever, because everything that looks different if people have skins on it and so on and so forth.
I mean, one of the
Customize the
nice
shit out of
things
it.
for the newer phone is that if you hold it like this, there's a camera button here.
That's cool.
So it pulls up the
Makes
camera
sense.
app, but you can also like zoom and change all your settings by like swiping over it.
That's cool.
And then you have an extra button on the side that you can map to anything, like apps too. So I'm probably going to map it to the B&O app.
Which is funny because that's what Samsung used to have, the Bixby button, which is gone now. And that was also like remappable. You could buy an app for like $1 and unlock it to everything. And now they just decided, no, forget it.
But it supposedly also from your lock screen, it pulls up that app that you map to it, so you don't have to do your password and thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like pull it out and just press that button, it's like what a B&O app, and it's there.
And then just the logo.
Yeah, and you don't have to do like the face recognition or the code, or it just goes right. Because it's an app I use all the goddamn time, often because I need to, not because I want to.
Yeah, I've been my Google reports last week was 17 hours spent on GPS and 10 hours on B&O app. So quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
But I do it professionally too. Like I don't sit at home on the app. Usually it's I turn on the app and I have the wall mount mode enabled, right? So it never shuts the screen off when I run it in the client's home. So I can do the updates and watch the progress and make sure everything's good. And yeah, so I guess it's a fake usage count because I don't really use it. It's just open with, things going on. And yeah, one of the worst ones is that's why I always, if there's a Beo remote one involved in the installation, the first thing I do, I unbox be it Theater or Decor and pair those two together and let the bloody remote control update itself.
Yeah,
So
still no updates on my stage and being weird.
that is so bizarre. I even looked through the PHC and it doesn't show shit. I don't get it.
Nor do I. For the people that don't know, in the app it says latest software releases, but they're on software release 5.9. Though the stage itself says it's up to date on 5.7. Though the back end of B&O says the latest version is 5.7.
And I can't even push an update to it because it doesn't exist on his profile in the serial number. It says it's up to date, no service version to be assigned.
But then,
so I'm gonna try to do that tomorrow if I don't forget and I have time. I'm gonna log into the stage in our shop.
see
and
what
if it says
version that is.
5.9, if it's 5.9, I can download. I think I can download the update to the USB stick and then shoot it to you.
For some reason, whenever I turn the TV on, after 3 or 4 days of essentially non-use or little use, it defaults to LG channels. And then the remote, besides turning on and off, is totally useless.
Okay, here's some weird shit that I had noticed lately. And it only happens on the G and C4 panels. You pull up you press the home, it pulls up the thing, right? With all the icons and the bollocks, the apps. You go all the way to the B&O app. Before you even get to the B&O app, move goes to HDMI 2, no source.
Huh. Well, I'm a C3, so
menu.
I don't have that.
Yeah, you go back to menu, rattle all the way to the B&O app, turn on the B&O app, on Harmony, I'm talking. It pulls up the menu, it stays. Sometimes it disappears after a second, goes back to HDMI 2 signal. No signal. Which it's ARC, so I don't know what, but the TV is defaulting into that. And the same thing was going on with the stage, but not with the B&O app. I try to go to the settings of the TV, like go to the options. It pulls up the sidebar. Poof, HDMI 2, no signal. What the fuck is going on? And it's something that I noticed after the latest update. it hasn't happened to me on the theater because
Yeah, the menu is not there.
it's not that the menu is not there. I haven't fucked with the menu. I didn't even think of it till now. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have to do it when I go to the new spot because I have to put the new Wi-Fi network on it because nothing's gonna be hardwired again. Call is. So I'll find out and see if that's the same. But I don't have that issue because mine is a G2 panel.
I wonder if it's B&O or LG that changed something.
It
Probably
is LG for sure. It's 100% LG because it's doing it. I've caught it on all the G4s in the showroom. Do it at some
Lawrence
point.
says he has the same on his theater.
Are you on the G4 panel, Lawrence, or you have a what generation of LG screen
G2.
you got? G2. Fuck. I knock on wood. I don't have any issues, but I honestly like I only use the app, the internal apps of the LG screen. I don't have any puck control. I don't have any Apple TV through CEC going into the panel or the theater. I don't have any of that. I'm essentially, I think I'm using the theater the way that they actually had intended it to be.
Yeah.
That you source everything out of the panel and you don't have shit connected to it other than speakers. But also the popping, the mysterious popping, right? Watching movie, YouTube streams and whatnot, and every now and then I go like. So the theater's been gone for a few days now, right?
Mhm.
So I've been consuming YouTube off of the desktop computer, which also has B&O system in it, I guess, but that's besides the point. The fucking Kraken was there, man. It's in the YouTube. It's not the theater.
Interesting.
Some channels I watch, yeah, just pop, 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 like very randomly, and you go back and it's not there when you reverse. So it's just something that happens during the stream, but it just I don't know if there's a significant packet drop that it affects sound more than picture. I don't know, but it's not the theater, so that's my findings now that I had a forced A to B comparison living without the theater for a few days and watching more or less. Last week I've been watching YouTube off of the desktop.
Interesting. Because I don't have it at all, the popping. I've never had it.
I thought it was like son of a bitch, trying to fuck around with the presets and tune this, direct, true image, blah blah, this and that. But that is on YouTube. It happened to me. So I know, Billy, you have a complete different set of issues with that, but at least these are my findings that I come across on the G2 series panel and theater playing YouTube off it all the time. It is neither the panel or the bloody theater. It's the actual feed that's coming in that has that in there, but it's not part of the actual video, because if you revert the 10 seconds and you listen for that pop, it ain't there. So it's just randomly, like it's like a fucked up packet drop on the audio feed side, or I don't know, man, or maybe it's the sound sync that pops, or I don't know what is going on, but it's maybe it's the codecs they use, Billy. You're probably onto something there too.
Weird
I don't know what it is, but but I know now I'm gonna rest in peace with the fact that it's not the fucking theater that I'm tripping over, right? It's not like, because being involved in the B&O community, and you see all these, the things, because I sit on the Discord every day, all day more or less. I always look at shit, right? Because I read through. I don't respond much unless there's a need, but I read through all these problems, and then it's like a fucking WebMD for you, all right? When something goes wrong with your shit, then you're like, fuck, who posted something about that, right? And it's not that it's to the detriment and it's bad, but in the same token, like sometimes I've read so many different things people had wrong with it that I don't know if there's just me or is it the theater. No, it turns out to be the stream from the YouTube colonies.
Come join our Discord.
So, yeah, come join our Discord. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. And you can find a lot in the documentation tab as well, for if you want to have a boring ass read. which I call
Yeah,
BeoTalk
but
magazine.
this is
I love
the
it.
stuff that makes things work.
Exactly. So
And you can find part numbers for like oiling your 18 cars.
yeah, I'm gonna oil them, and as soon as they set up, I'm gonna oil my covers. I found the oil yesterday. I was unpacking stuff. I found the mineral oil, so I'm ready to rock and roll these sons of bitches. It's gonna be good times. They're gonna look so good.
Also, Bio Noah's friend took took a picture, and it just happened to have B and O in it, and like B and O should get different photographers.
Mm.
Like, this is better.
Yeah, that's cool. What is it?
H9
Looks like
third gens look to me.
yeah, something like that. Somebody posted the old H6s in green limited edition color. I don't know, somewhere on the Discord. I actually do have a set of those. Still. Too bad that. Well, now I guess I do have an adapter from the USB-C to the thing, to the 3.5 mil. Maybe I'll give this a listen because I can just dig them up. Now everything is in my apartment, other than all the Lego. I didn't bring all the Lego, which I left it there because it's all light boxes. It's like going to be like a cherry on top after fucking dragging the 90s out of the container. I'm not looking forward to it, but it's gonna happen. So, but yeah, that's my findings against regarding the YouTube. It never happened on the Netflix and YouTube. I mean, Amazon Prime. I've canceled because I cannot bring myself to pay for something and then they middle finger you dead center of the movie with a commercial that is unskippable. I can't tolerate that. I'm sorry, but guys, like, if I'm paying, fuck off. I'm paying because I don't want to see that. If I was for free, not a complaint, but I couldn't do it. These are interesting, eh? To the soles of the shoes to glue on the sidewalk.
I keep on telling people, if you think B&O has ever made something, Beozit probably has it.
Yeah, he does.
He has absolutely fucking everything they ever made.
Yeah, he's got a very good gold mine of B&O swagger and paraphernalia. Because I honestly, the only time that I had ever seen those was in the fucking museum in Denmark, a block and a half away from the Factory 5 or whatever it is there, right? From the B&O.
Yeah.
And it was under the counter. I think they only had one footprint. Not like the whole, you can line up path with it. So this would look good in the mall, right? Because you can stick it on but nowadays I guess they would be like, those crazy, like those COVID tapes that just never comes off.
Yeah. God, I was in the mall yesterday to buy the new iPhone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, the Apple store closest to us didn't get any shipments of the new phones, but the one that was slightly further away did. And I'd never been to this mall before because, like, I'm mostly indoors doing painting and crap, right? Like, I don't go anywhere because...
No, I'm a man, too. I don't go to the malls unless it's absolutely necessary.
It was a mall. I expected there to be a B&O store in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, the cheapest shop in there was probably Burberry or, like, Chanel or something.
Apple store.
Yeah, there was probably one of the cheaper stores in there.
Wow.
Like, it was IWC, like Hublot, that sort of stuff.
I wonder why B&O doesn't open more stores. But I think also do you think the problem also is with staffing them? Because it takes a very special individual to be able to sell B&O, right? Because it's a high-end retail market, but it's not easy. I don't think, like, you have to have a certain amount of past with the company in order to be not looking like you're bullshitting your way through, fly by the seat of your pants or whatever the saying is. Where
I think that's the problem for startup stores for sure. Yes.
because like, yourself, if you walked into a store and you see a guy that just started working there maybe 3-4 months ago, and you start talking to him about your system and he don't even have a fucking clue, there is no, the dynamic has completely died. Like even if, like if you say, yeah, the 17s were great, blah blah blah, then at least you can build that rapport where it's like, oh, what do those look like? Oh Christ, like you have no idea, so why am I going to give you a copious amount of money for you to spec me a system that you don't even know how it works?
I'm not sure if I should say this, and it may not be the case anymore, but I kind of had that feeling in the flagship store in London.
Mm. But that's just they hire the young blood, and I understand there's
they may be very good at selling,
through.
But if you don't know what you're selling, it's really hard. And I'm not entirely sure it's the lack of enthusiasm on their part, right? Like it also seemed the B&O training is a bit weird. As in,
Well,
like,
B&O training is very much focused on the brand new products. I think that the problem that they have, at least in the sales, is that they abandon the history, and there are certain items that any salesman should know by the name. As far as the 9000, you should automatically know that that's a CD player, right? Like there are certain 8000s, there's a 3200, 3000, the Beocenter 2. Like you should know these products just by default of the conversation, because those are design icons, and they've been around. Some of them have been around before those people that are selling you these shit haven't been even born. So, and it, I don't into prefaces, maybe it's a shift in generation. I don't even think it's a shift in generation, but I think that seeing how the newer younger people are, it's they expect too much for too little, and right away.
yeah, but that's where I'm putting it more on B&O themselves, right? Like, because if you are in a shop with some passion, with some goals for like 6 months, you're going to know so much more than on day one, even if you've had a week or two to like complete all the training and shit. Just by talking to people. But it's hard because I mean, it is a company that very much sort of rests on its past. But if you don't get to know the past, then how are you supposed to do anything with it if you're new to it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think there should be a more, like, I understand the history training and blah blah blah. Like that's cool, but I think that there should be, even though it's an abandoned. I guess it should be different for installers. Like the new young installers, they don't really have a clue about Masterlink, how it all works. Option programming, all that. It's alien shit to them, right? Because it's infrared, and you don't come across it if you start a new B&O shop and you work in a new B&O store. Everything is now Mozart platform. Everything's Bluetooth, wireless, headphones, this, that, whatever, right? You don't have one spinal cord of a cable going through your entire house where everything taps into. And
I don't even remember all the options in because like I was never that deep into it. I know some of them. But
option 1, option 2, option 4, and option 5 and 6.
Yeah, and I know how to get there with a BO4 still. Like it's just muscle memory. Like when I think about it, it's actually harder than when you just do it.
But yeah, no, that's something that it's and then if you get into the option programming of the V1s and the Avance, right?
Yeah.
Because you have a BeoVision 1, BeoVision 2, BeoVision all the way to 8.
You
can control
BeoCenter
8 products.
something attached to it, and like.
So yeah, there's a lot that
I mean, my BeoCenter 2 was off for like, I don't know, a month or two, so it forgot its option, so I had to put that back in, and it was like, yeah, I'm not going to ask Willie again. I have to just go like,
it's option 2,
and this is what he said like 6 months ago.
Video option 2, bro. If you put it to audio option 2, then only the CD, radio, and AMM commands will work. If you put it to option 2, video option 2, then the TV or the DVD will trigger. But that's more or less on the TV as well.
Yeah, but I don't use DVDs. So I just did audio option one,
Well,
I
that's
think.
another thing that I'm debating to like. Do I make my freaking bedroom a retro room? Right? Like I could put a BeoCenter 2 in there, right? I don't know where the fuck I'm gonna hide the socket unit because that sucks. Maybe I'll paint it white and put it on the wall because I have the wall bracket, and that would kind of look sexy. And then put the BeoCenter 2 with into the DIN to SCART, so I could have the DVDs play in my bedroom. I don't think that's gonna ever happen.
Yeah, I recently watched one of these old things, and God, 480p looks weird on a 4K screen.
Oh
especially,
Christ, man!
especially with the
Yeah.
very older stuff. Is 4:3, not 16:9.
Oh yeah, the black bars of death, and I watched something the other day as well. One a very like 720p resolution is already intolerable on big screens.
Yeah.
You can get away with a lot. That's why I'm thinking like the 32-inch V1 that could pull it off because it's such a small panel still that you can get away with the 480p DVD video. I know Kareem's laughing at me, but I don't care.
Yeah, but I mean, speaking of all these things, right? Like, I'm just now looking at the time, but underneath the time, there's a fucking date on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you come out of school and university, and you go work for B&O now because you did your master's in business and sales or whatever. You were
Mm-hmm.
probably born in 99 or 2000.
Yeah.
So all the stuff that people are still doing was like 2 decades before you were born. And it's still running, right? Like,
That's the thing. Like you don't see that with Sony or Yamahas or Marances and whatever because those it's not treated in the same way as I guess. But yeah, it's a different story when I go to the homes where they still have a BIOS Master 5500 going with old school pentas off before the amps were even introduced to them. So yeah, there's a lot to it. There's a
yeah.
lot to B&O that rides on the past, and I think that I don't know. For me, the educational focus of the B&O should be more also onto the past, especially for the installers. Like I understand the new, but you never just have new when you have a long-term B&O client and a collector. There's no way you're gonna have just new.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you are coming out of university of whatever now, right? Let's say you were an enthusiast and you lived with B&O all your life and it was always new because your parents were rich or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's stuff from the last 15 years. That's all network link.
Yeah, fuck. Fair enough. It's all yeah. The Masterlink was gone in 2011, I guess. So yeah, for 13 years ago.
It's more or less all network linked. Like maybe you were on the edge of Masterlink, but probably not.
Or they had Masterlink and slowly got replaced with the network link TVs,
moved,
and that's it.
A host of things.
Yeah.
Like,
so
I think we, the real BO idiots, nerds, whatever you want to call us, sometimes forget that, like, even if you're like 25 now, which is like, you were essentially not aware of 9/11.
My CD player is older than my girlfriend. Technically. When it was designed. Fuck. So weird.
Yeah, but like, there's a huge difference in like people from the 90s, right? And
from the 80s, bro. Should go all black and white now.
yeah, exactly. But that's how a lot of people feel. That's probably also where like the new salespeople, if you want a foot in the door, where like a huge disconnect comes from. Because they grew up with everything wireless. Because like wires are bad.
Well, apparently that's the trend because in my apartment there is no cables. So I don't know. I'll open the thing. There's two cats. I don't see where they're going because there's no plugs. But anyways, let's throw that into the next podcast when I'm actually in the other location. I gotta get cleaning, bro.
Andrew says I own BLab 8, but they have strange behavior. If you leave them in standby, they will randomly start playing with the number 2 preset. Call your dealer or
I would,
factory
what,
reset
power
them.
cycle and factory reset them and power cycle them or well, they're gonna reboot anyways. But I would factory reset them if there's a bug. And if you have them stereo paired, then you know what? Just in case, check on both software versions of the speakers. The best way to do it is just to separate the stereo pair and doctor each speaker individually or address it individually, because I've seen the newer software working with the older software on the BeoLab 8 as far as the stereo pairing, but there might be some hiccups and glitches that come across with that. So I would highly recommend separate the stereo pair, look at both what they are as far as the software is. Maybe you have a disabled automatic update on one, and factory reset them on your app, reset them up on your app, and stereo pair them back, and you should be good to go.
Partially why I say call your dealer is just so you have like evidence in case they are bad, that they won't point at you because of your network or whatever the fuck, right? Like, it's just like you've mentioned it, they must be aware of it now. It's like you made a ticket with somebody,
basically. So
yeah. It's just also just
yeah,
so
the same
he
as
knows.
okay, so you're ahead of the game. Okay, so you've done it, and still you have that issue.
Weird. Maybe somebody's connecting into them.
A, B, it also could be. It doesn't really matter if you set the primary or secondary the other way, but my guess it could be that you have a bad touch panel.
Yeah, clean the touch panel maybe, just in case.
Yeah, because it makes no sense that it starts to preset too. That's just like, what would it be? Is there it can be day or a few hours. Weird thing, do you have light pointing at, like, does the light shine on the top of the speaker? Maybe that's what triggers it, which would be very weird, but I don't know. Yeah. Maybe you have that fly that is heavy enough that, lands on the number.
Maybe like me, you have a cat that walks around and does this on all your fucking my buttons.
And volume when it slips.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I had it the other day again. I came home with like Deezer playing. Turns out a cat was like again on top of the theater.
Need some music. Maybe you should set the first my button for standby, or one of them for standby, so when they randomly walk back across it, they can shut it off.
It seems like she only goes one way across it though.
She
somehow always manages to hit the number 4 my button.
So put that in standby. That's it. You have to give up a my button for a cat, bro.
So no, I just need to teach her better. I'm gonna give one of those Nerf guns and hunt her.
Bag of salt. Sit there like Sarah Connor in Terminator movie.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And if this is really that random, call your dealer, make a ticket, because that should be a
100%
return warranty thing.
Have them look into the speakers through the product health and run tests, and there's a whole bunch of new things that they can do now that were announced on the internal, what we can see and do and analyze your entire network and so on. So I would, tomorrow when you wake up, if your dealer's open, give them a shout and just make a note of it. Maybe have somebody have a service call and come out, and that's it.
Yeah. On that note, have a very good week, everybody. Hope you had fun. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't yet already, and we'll see you next weekend.
Take care. Signing out from the last one.